Hey guys, what's up? GreenMachineSam back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about some of the rumors that are going on with the NFL Combine well underway. There's been a report that Atlanta and Chicago are close to settling on a deal for Justin Fields, sending him to Atlanta and sending draft capital back to Chicago. And I'm going to be completely honest, I don't want them to draft Caleb Williams. I've said this before and I'll say it again. It just makes no sense from my point of view, right? Drafting a QB when you don't know if you have the future head coach of your team right now. You know, with Matt Eberflus, there's still question marks, right? He still hasn't been able to run a successful offense. I know he doesn't run the offense, right? He probably delegates a lot of the decisions to the OCs and some of the coaches on that staff. But not having a good offense 2 years in a row, you can look at the defense and say he improved it last year. They were a very good unit, especially in that second half of the year. But then again, you're the one that hired Aaron Williams, and then he was ranked 32nd, and it looked like they were going to be ranked 32nd once again up until Aaron Williams, had to resign for inappropriate conduct or whatever it may have been, allegedly. And so it's like, okay, he didn't take over the defense because he wanted to save his job. He took over the defense for the wrong reason, which was he had to, because he didn't trust any of the other coaches to coordinate. And then your unwillingness to fire Luke Getsy and stuff like that. But what I don't understand is, why would Ryan Poles put him in the same situation Ryan Pace put himself in twice? Which is, keep a head coach that you're not 100% sold on, or maybe, who knows, maybe he is 100% sold on Eberflus. Maybe he thinks Eberflus is the guy. I don't think he is, but that's yet to be seen. But if there's even a single question mark of whether or not you think Eberflus is the head coach of the Chicago Bears going forward, and if he is the guy long-term to take us to playoffs, to maybe take us to a Super Bowl, to maybe even winning a Super Bowl, you do not draft a quarterback this year. You build up the rest of the roster. Ryan Pace did this twice. He was like, oh, hey, we don't know if John Fox is a long-term coach. He didn't actively say it, but everybody was thinking it. You bring in Trubisky, give him 1 year. Oh, it didn't work out. Well, you're fired then. Brings in Matt Nagy. After the 2 years, he goes, hey. Well, after the years, they decide, hey, Justin Fields is your last opportunity. We just drafted Justin Fields. He's going to come in. You have 1 year to get this thing going. Oh, it's not going well again. You're fired, right? And then him and Nagy both got fired, to be more particular. It just doesn't make sense to me why Ryan Poles would put himself in the same situation by drafting Caleb Williams and potentially trading out Justin Fields, and then potentially even cutting ties with Eberflus after this next season, if things don't go well, right? And it's a rookie QB with high expectations, okay? So the standards are going to be set even higher. And hell, the standards are already going to be set pretty high with Justin if you keep Justin Fields and stuff. I just don't understand the logic of trading Fields. I really don't. And if the reports are true and if Fields is getting traded off, I don't know how to feel about this team. We're not a QB away. I get the explanation of you don't know when you're going to be drafting number one again, right? But if you look back at the history of the number one overall draft picks, and especially over the last, I think, 13, even dating back to Sam Bradford, the last, certain amount of number one overall picks, you'll look at the QBs and you'll go, okay, a lot of these guys did have talent. They came in, played pretty well. What was the one thing that has happened to a lot of them? Injuries. Straight up injuries. You want to know why? Because the rest of the team isn't built around them. The O-line isn't fortified. You didn't have weapons for some of the guys. There's all these different, and look, you can sit here and say, well, some of them will just get injured, right? Joe Burrow is already on his second season-ending injury. Andrew Luck retired early. A lot of these number one overall QBs have not worked out because you do not have the team built around them. Yes, I understand we're a little bit better of a team than what the traditional number one overall pick normally is. I completely understand that. It just doesn't make any sense to me to draft Caleb Williams right now in this current situation if you're not 100% settled on Matt Eberflus. And it just doesn't make sense to do some of the things that they're potentially going to be doing. I understand you want to reset the QB clock, and I understand now, don't get me wrong, if you truly, without a shadow of a doubt, if you're willing to risk your whole job on this, and you think Caleb Williams, or Drake May, or Jaden Daniels is the guy, you're like, this is the best QB in the draft class, this guy's going to be the next great, then yes, you make the pick. Absolutely, 100%. But if you even have a question of which QB you would even take, / if you would trade down a pick or two and then take a QB, you don't do it. You don't do it. If there's a question mark at the QB position of you being like, I don't know, they're all kind of good in their own way, who would be best for Chicago, I don't really know type of attitude, don't do it. Keep Justin Fields. And look, I get it. My unbiased opinion is that Justin Fields will turn it around and be good in his 4th year. And I know the unlikelihood of that happening is very high. It's higher than the likelihood of it happening, of him being good. I completely understand that, right? It's probably 75% chance he's probably not going to be the guy. He's probably not going to be the franchise guy. I understand that. But I'd rather write it out. I'd rather write his contract out. And at the end of this next year, if you go, okay, he's really not the guy, then you can look to draft a QB. Okay? But then look, if you do that, the team's built, hopefully. As long as you nail some of your draft picks. If you go out and draft a receiver, if you go out and draft an interior O lineman, you go out and draft another edge, you go out and draft maybe another running back, some other pieces here and there, backup tight end, another receiver, 2 receivers, a running back, a backup tight end, 2 interior O linemen, an edge, and maybe some safety help. And then depending on what you do in free agency, yeah, of course you could honestly look at that and be like, okay, now we have a team. Let's go draft somebody, right, next year. And I understand as of right now, there's not as much hype around next year's QB class. But then again, stuff changes in a year. We might have the next, not Caleb Williams-esque, but, the next jump up the board in quarterback. Some quarterback that didn't get playing time last year could show up and ball the fuck out, right? We could have another Joe Burrow situation on our hands. I don't understand the logic of trading away Justin Fields. I understand why some people wouldn't mind it. I'm just not for it. I shouldn't say I don't understand. I understand why. I'm just not for it. I think there are much more needs than just QB on this team. Now, yes, if you have a good QB or even a great QB, like you have the chance of possibly drafting, then yes, that could change the franchise by itself. But, like I said, I looking back at the history of the number 1 overall picks, what QBs were good, got injured a lot, retired early, weren't really the same after injuries, stuff like that. And other number 1 overall QBs maybe just weren't as good either. It's really hit or miss. I'm not saying I know the answers. I'm not saying don't draft Caleb Williams. I don't like him. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if it were up to me, and look, I think this will truly determine Ryan Poles' job. I could see a situation where Ryan Poles gets fired next season if this does not work out. If he sticks with Fields and if it doesn't work out, and Caleb Williams and two of the top 3 QBs that go off the board, if 2 of them ball the fuck out for their team, I could honestly see a world in which Ryan Poles does get fired, which I understand that from that perspective as well. If you draft Caleb Williams, you probably guarantee yourself 3 years. Eberflus, that's a different story. Like I said, he could be gone as early as next year. But, I don't know. It's tough. It really is. I understand why some Bears fans want Caleb Williams. I do. I really, really do understand. Trust me, I know hopefully we're not going to be back in this situation. But, man, I think if a trade doesn't get done before free agency will really, really be the biggest sign, I think, in terms of free agency. If they're signing more long-term deals, guys that they think that are going to be good in 3 or 4 years still, that can really help out the team now and later, then I think it will be Caleb Williams, especially if they don't get a trade done. if they do get a trade, if they go out and sign a lot of maybe more expensive veterans that they know are going to be good this year, they're going to be good now, they're going to be good value now, their best value is going to be now, they're going to spend money, then I think we're going towards Justin Fields. I think if, like I said, if a deal doesn't get done, whether it's for the pick or whether it's for Justin, I think a lot will be determined within the first 3 days of free agency. I think based off the first 3 days of free agency, I think a lot of Bears fans will be able to tell. Now, yes, you go out and sign the best people in free agency that you think are going to fit your team, be good, and help out immediately. But I think if Poles is willing to overpay on some players, overpay on a couple positions for short-term deals, then I think that would lean towards Justin Fields. And if he's looking to sign guys that are going to be good in 3 years, that are still going to be good in 3 years, and the contract's going to be worth it, then I think you will be able to tell that it's going to be Caleb Williams. Like I said, I'm not against Caleb Williams. I'm just against the idea of you have the number 1 overall pick. You need so much more. It's not like Justin Fields failed because he's Justin Fields. He failed because Luke Getsy was a dumbass. He failed because the O-line was in shambles half the year, and the other half of the year when it wasn't in complete and total shambles, and this guy going here, and this guy going there, and this guy filling in at this spot. It was because DJ Moore was the only really reliable weapon outside of Cole Kmet, and Cole Kmet was good, but his later half of the season just didn't seem as good as I thought it was going to be. I was trying to have conversations that Cole Kmet was going to be a top 5 tight end by the end of the year. Instead, he didn't do that. He kind of faded out. I'm not saying there's a right or a wrong answer currently, right? I think there's multiple thought processes that you can easily have going into the draft. It's tough. It is. And as big of a Bears fan and as big of a Justin Fields fan as I am, I understand just, how unlikely it is for him to turn it around, or how unlikely this whole situation can turn out, right? We could do both things. We could, in the same universe, we could realistically trade off Justin Fields and he goes and has a great year. Or we keep Justin Fields, he has a bad year. We draft Caleb Williams, he has a bad year. Both of them could be bust. Both Caleb Williams and Justin Fields could be bust if we draft Caleb Williams and trade off Justin Fields. And I completely understand that too, right? That's just how the NFL works. I don't know. That's my thought on it. I don't think it makes logical sense to draft Caleb Williams. I think it's to trade down, get as many assets as humanly possible. You trade with a team that would like to move up to number 1, as well as a team that you might think is going to be bad next year. So if that's, New England, because they want Caleb Williams and they're willing to give you a lot, I say you do it. If it's Atlanta, you go do it. If it's one of the other teams, you go do it. If the Raiders want to give up 3 or 4 first round, if the Raiders want to give up 3 first round picks, I would do it. And then you also have to think of which team does he not want to go to as well. I would say that much, right? Don't send him to a team that he wants to go to. Now, yeah, so the Raiders do have Devontae Adams, and I think he said that's one receiver he would like to throw to. You don't do it interdivision. You try to do it out of conference. If anything, I'd prefer the Patriots or even the Raiders over a team like, of course, the Commanders or the Falcons, but you can't be picky. Whoever gives you the best offer, I think you have to go with. Like I said, there's no right answer currently at this moment. I feel for Poles. He said it's going to be a hard decision. It's going to be a hard, choice to make. I don't know. With the more and more reports coming out that Atlanta's close to a deal with Justin Fields, it does make me nervous, of course. But then again, a lot of these, especially over the last month and a half-ish, ever since the Super Bowl was over, the amount of people that have been rumored to be in trade talks is fucking ridiculous. I think Antonio Pierce or somebody from the Raiders organization basically came out and said, we're not fucking trading Devontae Adams. Stop talking about it. And even A.J. Brown was like, I'm not leaving Philly. Stop fucking talking about it. I don't want to leave Philly. Stop spreading these fucking rumors. There's been multiple players on multiple different teams being like, I'm not leaving the team. I'm under contract. I'm staying with them. I'm not requesting a trade. Stop trying to stir up drama by saying, and even Justin Fields brought this up of, I unfollowed the Bears in the NFL because I was tired of seeing football. I want to see some other things on my timeline. I don't want to just see football. This is the off season. I'm trying to get my head right. Yes, is it? And he's probably annoyed because all he sees is probably, oh, this team's interested in Justin Fields. Oh, this team's interested in Justin Fields. Oh, this team could be in the possible Justin Fields sweepstakes. Oh, the Bears are looking to draft Caleb Williams. I'd get sick and tired of that too. Imagine you being at your job and all you see is just like, oh, they're getting your replacement. They're getting your replacement. Oh, they're going to send you to it. They're going to fire you. They're going to fire you. Watch out. They're going to fire you. They're getting your replacement. It would get annoying for me too. I wish Justin Fields nothing but the best of luck, no matter what spot he ends up in. Whether it's the Bears or whether it's some other team, the Steelers, the Falcons, the Raiders, the whatevers. I do wish him the best of luck. He's the one quarterback in my time as a Bears fan that I've actively rooted for that we've went out and gotten, right? I was on the tail end. When I really started taking football seriously, I was on the tail end of the Jay Cutler train and stuff. So I kind of didn't like him. He seemed like he didn't give a fuck. Now I understand why he didn't. That team was dog shit. Mark Trestman was dog shit. John Fox, I don't even know if he played with John Fox. But, that team was just dog shit. I understand why he didn't give a fuck, right? But Justin Fields is the first quarterback that I actively liked when we drafted him. Don't get me wrong. I didn't hate Trubisky. But I knew it was a bad pick. I didn't like the pick. I didn't want it. Justin Fields, when we traded up to go get him in COVID, I was like, this is it. This is our, time to rise up. This is time to take back control of the North. And unfortunately, it hasn't worked out like that. If you guys enjoy this content or any of the content here on my channel, I would appreciate it if you guys do stick around and subscribe. I'll be back with more videos like this. I have roster updates, Titans franchise, and rebuilds all coming out shortly, hopefully. Just depending on how things go, of course. I do plan on doing draft content both around the free agency period and the draft. So stick around for that as well. I'll be reacting to a lot of the Bears stuff. I'll be doing roster updates, stuff like that. So like I said, if you guys enjoy this content, please do stick around and subscribe. If you guys want to have a conversation about the Bears and what they should do and what they're going to do, because I think those are two different topics of conversation, is what they should do versus what they are going to do. Because, it is the Chicago Bears. Like, I saw a fucking TikTok probably no more than an hour ago basically being like, the Bears when they take Bears fans when they take J.J. McCarthy number 1 overall in the 2024 NFL draft. It's like, oh fuck, don't say that. They might actually do that for some reason. But like I said, if you guys enjoy this content, please stick around and subscribe, and I'll be back with more videos like this. But I'm out. Peace.